do you feel that phones could be a bit of a distraction?
Yes.
Okay, how could they be a distraction?
They can be addicting.
Okay.
Also, it can cause isolation problems.
I made a lot of poor choices when I was in middle school. Some of those I've shared with you. I was a great student, very smart like you are, but a leader, but I always led people sometimes to make negative choices.
The teachers who have a relationship with the students, you feel more comfortable asking them questions.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes in life, maybe someone started off and they were joyful and they were ready. I'm ready to make an impact. And maybe some things happen, maybe in personal life or maybe even happen at their school. And what happens is that, all of a sudden our hearts can turn cold. What is up? Welcome to the Felix Bobo Podcast. That's right. We're gearing back up. And I'm truly excited about today's podcast because this guest is near and dear to my heart. Some say he's a spitting image of me, Coach Felix. And I'm excited to have none other than the Jackson Bobo. Come on, podcast family. Let's welcome Jackson to the podcast. Come on. What's up, Jackson?
That's me.
Oh, come on, man. Well, I'm excited, man. This means a lot to Dad. It really does. That I didn't force you to come and do this. Maybe this a little bit, right?
Just a little bit.
Maybe people know you from the
You Decide?
You Decide, right? And we got a lot of good feedback on the You Decide. And also, we've been doing the car ride videos.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, my educator friends or parents, they'll reach out to me and just say how much that means to them to be able to see us kind of interacting. And people don't realize, we're just pressing record on the camera and we're making things happen. And oftentimes those conversations when I'm dropping you off at school, they may be 5 to 7 minutes, or we might have even had a conversation we should record this next time. But I'm excited. Dad's so proud of you. And, I look at you, you're growing up. People don't realize that you're as young as you are because they see this kid that's almost taller than me, wearing my shoes, right? All these different things, but Dad's excited. I'm excited to have you on this journey with me. And though I'm going to have different guests on, I think that it was great that we can kind of build this together. All right, cool. Anything you want to say to the people?
No.
All right, cool. You ready to dive into some questions?
Yep.
The life of Coach Felix and Coach Jackson, can we say that?
Yeah.
You did come on and work with me this summer though, right? How was that experience?
It was fun.
All right.
Working with all the kids.
I know, there was one clip that I would call it viral, was the one where you're teaching the students the actual activity.
Oh, the Tetris?
The Tetris. Tell me a little bit about that, because you did things naturally that, I try to share with other individuals on how to actually teach a lesson. You did something natural. What went into that process? Did I coach you up? Did you watch other people do it and then you just kind of took on?
It was because other people, I was watching them coach the students, and I basically said what they said. And there were some people that were normally at that station that weren't there, so I had to take over.
Yeah, because I remember the day you were like, I got this one. I want to do this one. And you kind of stepped in, and the modeling that you did for the students and the engagement that you done for the students. And you always heard me say this, maybe at an assembly that I've spoken at, or just maybe said it to you. I said that individuals will learn more from watching you than what you tell them to do. And I don't think anybody ever said, Jackson, do it like this. You just observed, and then you took the step and you made it happen. What really amazed me was not just the engagement that you had with the students, but the clarifying questions that you had. You said, how many blocks?
How many blocks?
Yeah, how many blocks? And they were like, you were like 1 block or 2 blocks? They were like 1 block, with the whole Tetris game that you were doing. So
Tetris tumble.
Yeah, tumble or tumble? Yeah. Okay, awesome. But Dad is proud of you, and I'm excited. Many people, they saw you, as I mentioned, and You Decide, and you were in elementary school then. They didn't realize it, but because they were like, Jackson,
I think I was in 5th grade.
5th grade. Yeah, you were 5th grade. And now there's this big transition that happened. You went to middle school. All right. So how's middle school been?
It's been good. Some classes have been more challenging than others. I have 7 classes in total.
7 classes? Yep. Sometimes I don't even realize that. So you went from having one class,
one teacher, class,
to the 7 classes,
4 teachers.
Okay, let's be honest. How was it the first day of school?
I was new there. It was my first day, so I really didn't know where to go. So then I had to find someone. And I was like, I don't know where to go. Where should I go? And then they took me over to my grandpa, and then my grandpa showed me where to go. Okay, so backstory. We have to tell everyone because you said grandpa. And you're like, what? People might say, why was grandpa on campus, right? So part of the process, it was a challenge, right? So you were leaving elementary school, and I know how crucial those middle school years are. You might not realize it, but I've seen a lot of students not only run into challenges in those middle school years, but they have become different people. We're going to become different people regardless, right? We grow and we evolve, but I've seen a lot of great students get around some of the wrong influences, and it's just like, what happened here? So we want to make sure me and your mom believe about community and support are very important to help you not only become Jackson, but become the person that you need to become to help serve your community and help lead other people. Yeah. And so one of the contributing factors was in the district you were a part of, you would have had to go to another elementary school for 1 year. For 1 year, because it was, I think it was kinder through 6. Yeah, that school was kinder through 6. So you would have had to leave your school because it only went to 5th grade. And then you would have to go to that school for 6th grade. And then I would have to go to another school for 7th and 8th grade. And I believe consistency is important, especially, like I said, in those middle school years. And I know it was a tough decision because none of your friends at first were going to the school that you're at right now. There was only like 2 or like at least 2 or 3 of them. Yeah, because after a while, because of the leader that you are, you got some of them to come over to the school that you're at, and they was like, yeah, we'll come to school with you, Jackson. But I remember one of the contributing factors of you going to that middle school is that Grampy, my dad, works at the school. Yeah. And it was just great. Again, not being, Dad, can you watch Jackson every step of the way? But we wanted to have you there with a good support system within those first couple of years of middle school. I don't know how long Grampy's going to be there for, but we wanted to have you there at least that first year of middle school to be able to have that great support. And how has that process been with Grampy being on site? I made a lot of friends since he's very well known at the school. I made a lot of friends. Yeah, he is, huh? And he introduced you to everybody. Yeah. That's what Grampy's going to do. And so I know that kind of helped with the transition of everything. And so one of the things I know, what were some of the things why you were hesitant on going to school? It was great that Grampy was there, but what was some of the reason why you were hesitant on going to this middle school? Because it's not a normal middle school, right? Yeah. There's some differences about this middle school. And so what were some of those things that you were like, oh, I don't know if I want to go to school here? One was every day except for Fridays, we had to wear a uniform. Okay, I know you wasn't a big fan of that. You were like, Dad, what about my shoes? Yeah. Dad, what about my hoodies I love to wear? So another thing is every morning we have to go out to the field for about like 30 minutes to this thing called formation. Okay, because you go to a military school, right? Yeah. So military charter school. This is not a school where you're going to be shipped off into the military. I mean, you decide to do that later on. I remember we used to joke about that. He's like, Daddy, do you pick me up on Saturdays? I'm like, dude, you're not staying the night on campus. You don't stay the night there. But it is, we think that this school is great as far as providing structure and discipline as well as leadership as well too. And so that was one of the other contributing factors of why we did decide this school. Any other reasons why you were hesitant on going to this school? Like I said, there was only like 2 or 3 of my friends from my old school that went there, so I didn't really know anybody. So I was kind of nervous, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to make new friends. Yeah, because that connection and that community is important. You had been at your previous school all the way from TK to 5th grade. To 5th grade. And so, but what Jackson sometimes doesn't realize, and I'm speaking to you, is that you're great at making friends. You're great at connections. You're great at leading other. Not only are you one of the biggest kids on campus, right? But I see the way that your friends, when they're around you, and this is what I've always tried to convey to you, they look up to you. When you're playing basketball, those kids not just look up to you, right? Like, right? But they seriously look to you. And me and your mom always say this about you, Jackson. Like, you have a heart of gold, dude. Like, honestly, when people are around you, like, first they see this big kid, right? You're like, he's a big kid, and you might seem intimidating at first to other people. But when they get around you, like,
those kids, man, they look up to you. Even some of the girls, right? But even some of the girls, they love being around you. And the guys, they love hanging out with you. And so I think that that's a testament of who you are, that no matter what school you would have went to, I think you would have made a positive impact on that campus. But Dad's got a few questions for you that I want us to go through. Something I think that our audience will be able to benefit from. So, you're talking about navigating, friendships and influences. And, this has always been a big part of what I've conveyed to you. Like, Jackson, not everybody's, that says your friend. Not everybody's your friend. It's right. Sometimes people are what? What do I say?
Fake friends.
Well, fake friends, yeah, but sometimes they're associates, right? It's okay to talk to people. We don't ever disrespectful to people, but like you realize a true friend is going to be with you through thick and thin. And this is but going into middle school, you've seen a lot of things, right? Already just in a few short months that you've been in middle school. But so how do you determine not just the voice of Coach Felix in your head and Dad in your head, right? Or Grampy on campus, but how do you determine, the ones that you're going to be friends with and the ones you kind of keep at a distance? Like, are there certain things that Jackson looks for in friendships?
Some things I look for is, like you said, people that are going to be through me when I'm struggling. Another thing would be probably someone who really cares about me and would do almost anything for me.
Okay, all right. So, and again, we haven't had this conversation before, and again, I'm giving you the freedom today to share. But have you been in instances in this this school year to where maybe you've had a chance, maybe because of people that you're around, to maybe make a negative choice, a bad choice, and you decided not to do that? And again, this is freedom talk, you know what I mean? Like, you can open it, because I think this is value that our audience can learn from as well, because I think maybe someone your age might be listening to this podcast, right? And they want to know, how do I navigate the real from the fake? We've had conversations for that, but have you ran into any situations like that this year?
I don't think so yet, but it is probably a possibility to happen.
Okay, yeah. And because I share this because even though we're the same, you're my son, I always share with individuals when I go out and speak, I made a lot of poor choices when I was in middle school. Some of those I've shared with you. I was a great student, very smart like you are, but a leader, but I always led people sometimes to make negative choices, or was easily influenced to make negative choices, whether that might have been talking about people, that might have been, hey, let me get the answers to the test, whatever it may be. I always share with individuals is that I thought I was getting over on people, but the real person that I was cheating was myself. And so that's why I just always, even though when you face challenges, I think that it's so important for you, as you've always heard me say, embrace the challenge, because challenges are what?
They can help me succeed.
They can help you, but they're just like my favorite piece of candy, right?
Yeah.
What's my favorite candy? Come on, my assembly,
Sour Patch
Kids, because first they're sour, then they're
sweet.
First they're sour, then they're
sweet.
That's right. We talk about these things all the time. They're but I didn't learn that till later on in life. I tried to avoid challenges. I tried to avoid the hard stuff because I wanted everything to come easy. And I always share with individuals, sometimes the things that we want in life is going to require us to work. It's going to require us to put in the time.
Challenging.
And we got to embrace those challenges too as well. Speaking of challenges, have you had any challenges this school year? Maybe a particular class.
Yeah, AVID.
Oh, you just said it. Okay, for those our audience that might not know what AVID is, what is AVID?
AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination.
Okay, that's good, because I always mess it up, but I'm glad you remember what the acronym is. Okay, so what is the challenge about AVID?
So every Monday and Wednesday, we have to do this thing called a TRF.
Oh my goodness.
Total Request Form.
Total Request Form. Okay, yes.
And we have to write this thing about what we're struggling. So we have to come up with vocabulary, stuff we understand, and work for our problem that we're confused on. And then the next day, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we get into small groups, and then we have this whiteboard, and we have to basically do what we did on the TRF, but with the group, and then they can help us, like, understand us.
Okay.
Understand us and make
So I think
us.
this is a prime example, right? Because AVID is an elective, right?
Yeah.
And maybe me and your mom swayed you into this decision because you had A, right? But we talk about the challenge, right? The challenge of sometimes these tedious tasks. But you, again, maybe I don't want to speak for you. Do you feel that AVID could help you be more successful at school?
Yes, it can.
Okay, how can it be?
It can help me by taking notes.
Okay, I know that's a big part of what you have to do.
It can help us take notes better. It can also, thanks to TRF, it can also help us understand stuff more.
Yeah.
Understand stuff that we're struggling.
Yeah. So is it safe to say that even though it's a challenge, right? Prime example, what we just talked about, it has the ability to make you not just a better student, but a better person as well, too.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was a school counselor, I realized a big part of AVID was helping you to stay organized as well, too, which is another thing, especially with boys, right, is the organization part. It could be, not just boys, but in general, some students can be very disorganized when it comes to stuff. I remember asking students, hey, where's your homework? And they would go all the way to the bottom of their backpack. And I call it
all crumbled up.
The accordion fan, right? Because it got folded up by your binder and all these different things. And so I know that AVID helped us to have who's calling me? I know that AVID had a great ability to be able to help you to stay organized with your stuff. All right, cool. Any other challenges with school?
No.
No? PE for the first time?
Yeah, PE.
Come on now. How was that been?
I'll say the first day and a couple other times I forgot my PE clothes.
Oh, man. We've had this conversation on recorded video.
I have to be prepared.
Yeah, you got to be prepared. So speaking of, that hasn't happened too often. And you're doing well in all of your clothes.
Now that changed, before I go to bed, I get my shorts and I put them in a backpack the night before, so I'm just ready.
Yeah. And speaking of that, and we kind of talked about some questions before, but I want to talk about this one because you said the night before, right?
Yeah.
So I know me and your mama decided, because you're in middle school now, you're a little bit older, we give you a little bit of grace with staying up a little bit later though, right?
Yeah.
And you were like, I want to stay up as long as I want, but we're big on making sure that you get rest, because we want you to be alert that next day at school, because I've seen it. Sleep deprivation is real. I've seen students, and you've probably seen it, students falling asleep in class, right?
Yeah.
Or looking like they're half awake. And so me and your mom want to always make sure that you are rested, because we know that you got goals, right? And I know in elementary school, one of your big goals was like, I want to get all A's. And you hit that goal. You crushed that goal. I mean, we went all the way up to the finish line and you were able to hit that goal. There was some miscommunication, but we found out that, yes, you hit that goal and Dad was so proud of you. If anything, it was showing you that you could set a goal and accomplish that goal. Was it hard? Was it difficult? Was there challenges?
Yeah, it was very challenging.
Yes, it was.
To try to get that goal.
But you did it.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you about that. And that's what I like to show individuals. Goals are challenging. Goals are hard. But if you're willing to put forth the effort and surround yourself with a good community, get out of your comfort zone, you can watch those goals and those dreams become a reality. But middle school, do you have any goals or things you want to accomplish for your first year of middle school?
So at my school, we have this rank up system.
Okay.
And it's basically military ranks. And right now I'm a recruit, but I'm going to be a cadet soon. So, and then we rank up 2 times in 2 semesters, so once per semester. And then if we go to summer camp, then we can rank up one more time. So I plan on going to summer camp and trying to be a corporal.
Okay, that's big goals. I like that.
So it's cadet first class, and corporal. So 3 times.
And that goes along with the whole military process and everything. And I love that. I love the ability, whether it's in military kind of foundational school or just in general, if there's opportunities for students to rank up, not even just based on academics, but based on successful completions of different tests along the lines of that, right? All right, so I know you had a lot of goals going into elementary school. One of those goals was I remember 5th grade year, going into that 5th grade year, I said, Jackson, what are your goals for the year? Yeah. And the reason I got that from is because I remember every year that Grampy, your grandpa that works at your school, my dad, he would have us write down our goals for the school year. And I remember we not only would write those goals down, but I remember he would post them on the refrigerator. And we would have goals for every single school year. And so that was one thing that I wanted to carry on with my kids that I believe became a great contributing factor on the success that I see now in my life. And so I want to pass that down, and hopefully you'll pass it one day down to your kids long time from now, right? But you had that goal and you hit that goal. Dad's proud of you because you did it. And it wasn't about the grades, right? It's not about all A's or A's and B's, right? Those, they feel good, right? They feel good, but it was about setting a goal and actually watching that goal become a reality. That's what I'm most proud of. But speaking of goals, going into 6th grade year, we kind of did the same thing, even though I knew that it was going to be a challenge. So I remember you said something about academics, but, and I'll give you the freedom to create your own goals. But do you have a goal for your 6th grade year?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it?
Well, like last year try to get all A's, and then we do this rank up. We have this rank up system where people have different ranks, and we can rank up 2 times in 2 semesters, so 1 time per semester. And then if we go to summer camp, we can rank up 1 more time. So I want to rank up all 3 times, try to, and then try to become a corporal.
Okay, all right, and I love this system of being able to rank up. I know this is pertaining to like a military school, right? So you rank it up for different positions. But I like the ability because I think it gives something for students to aspire to. It's the same thing that we do within my company, Unlimited University. Like, we want to provide students the opportunity to set a goal and to be able to accomplish those goals, because when we accomplish goals and we do them well, we get excited. And guess what we do? We now go back and repeat the goal, or go back and we want to work on accomplishing another goal. But I always share, sometimes goals we don't complete. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm saying that that's okay, but do we go back and see why we did not complete the goal? So even though your goal is to rank up, maybe you don't rank up all the way. I want you to, but then it's able to go back and say, why didn't I do that? Was there something I missed? Was it a system that I could have focused more on? Did I really push myself to get out of my comfort zone? And then hopefully even in that self, when we don't accomplish goals, they still help us to become better people.
And to add on to the rank up system, we were in Texas a couple days ago.
Come on now, Texas. All right.
Yeah.
Right.
And there was this place, and they had a rank up system, and they said that every time they rank up, they get more responsibility at the place.
Oh, that is true. You're right.
And I know you want to apply that to your business.
Yeah, I think that, because I love the rank up system. That's even, like, grades are important. I do believe grades are important, but I think that, like, ranking up in certain things based on maybe a character, random. I was like, get it out, right?
It will make them want to excel more.
Exactly, because sometimes that's a boost of morale that you get, right? That you can get some, because if I'm a student and I'm struggling at academics, and the only way that I'm going to get an award because of academics, and I feel like I'm struggling and I never get that award, what does that do for me? I feel like I just start to spiral downwards. But if I have an ability as an individual to get an award outside of maybe an academic pursuit, but it could be something based on my character or something that I've done in a positive thing on my campus, I think that has a lasting impact. And I think it's even great when you get something like a medal or a patch that you get in this organization you were talking about. They got a t-shirt when they leveled up. Yeah, I think that those are great. Those tangible things are great. Yeah. So, all right. So, speaking of that, there are a lot of things when, we talk about that helps us to build connections and excitement. I know a big part is, and maybe this doesn't like clearly pertain to you because I don't think you have a challenge in this area, but I think you can provide some good insight, is the relationship aspect with the educators on your campus. Your educators always speak very highly of you. You're always respectful, always polite. You're not perfect, right? Yeah. But looking back, but also looking forward, what do you say are some of those things that contribute to, building a good relationship with an educator? Do you feel like it's important for you as a student to build a good relationship, a good rapport with educators? Yeah. Okay, why is it important?
Because I feel like, so I have this one teacher, and in the morning they always say good morning to all the students. They say it to all the students. And then also I have him for math too. So, and he's always there to help students. So I feel like if they could build a relationship with the students, they can, like, the students will know who to go for when they need help on something.
Okay. Do you feel like you're more, you're able to maybe even ask questions to that teacher because they have built a good relationship with you? And I know sometimes I remember being in school, teachers that I had a rough relationship with, I didn't want to ask no questions, even if I didn't understand it.
Because the teachers who have a relationship with the students, you feel more comfortable asking them questions.
Yeah. But I know sometimes some educators struggle with this, right? Because I think that life sometimes throws some blows at us, you know, and I think that people that are in education got into education for a reason. I choose to believe that, right? I'm not saying that everybody's perfect, but I believe they got into education for a reason. And I think that sometimes in life, maybe someone started off and they were joyful and they were ready. I'm ready to make an impact. And maybe some things happen, maybe in personal life or maybe even happen at their school. And what happens is that, you know, all of a sudden our hearts can turn cold. And I believe that students feel that. Like, I think you feel genuinely that this one teacher genuinely cares about his students, correct? Yeah. Okay. And then I'm not saying that you have teachers that don't genuinely care about their students, but you can feel sometimes the opposite. You can feel sometimes when there's a barrier, right, between a teacher and a student, and you can see the different dynamics of a class like that. I remember I had a teacher, he was a science teacher, and everybody would try to switch out of this teacher's class because he came in and he was so strict. I remember I wasn't able to switch out of the class. And I remember maybe like a month or so into that class, I went to the teacher, I was like, man, you're not as bad as, you know, everyone says. And we were able to have this conversation. And he says, oh, you know, I do that intentionally because I want all the people out of my class that don't want to be in my class. And he was a great individual. And I realized that sometimes some teachers are more strict. Yeah. Some teachers are more lenient. And I don't think that that's what contributes to a relationship or a good or bad relationship with a student. Yes, we have teachers that are more strict than others. But I think that knowing that a teacher genuinely cares about the success of every single student is beneficial though too as well. It really helps. And you can feel that. Like, I genuinely feel when I was a school counselor, students can feel that I genuinely wanted them to succeed in life. And I think that's what you're saying about that. You feel that these teachers that have contributed or you have built good relationship with, you can genuinely feel that they were there for you and that they cared about you. And I think that that's important. No, I just got a couple more questions for you, if that's all right. All right. Now, this has been the big one, right? You're in middle school, and this is one that I have struggled with. And I don't think I've even shared with the full capacity of it with this, but we got to address it, right? It's the one thing that you've been begging for. And what's that thing?
A phone.
Oh my goodness. Yes, a phone. Now, I know that it's hard. I know there's a challenge. I remember phones weren't a thing when I was your age.
Oldie.
But goodie, right? Oldie but goodie. I remember my thing when I got to high school eventually, I think it was high school, was a pager. Do you know what a pager is?
No.
Oh my goodness. I'm just dating myself. But a pager would be this thing that it was this device, like a lot of doctors wear them now. Or maybe they do, I don't know. But you didn't have the ability to communicate with someone, but you can page someone, meaning that, like, if you wanted to, let's just say, Jackson, you had a pager and I wanted to have you call me. You didn't have a cell phone, but I could page you.
Would you look it up in a book?
Man, no, not no phone. Man, goodness, no. That's okay. That's a whole nother day, another time. But I can page you, and I can be like, I can page you my number, and then you would have to go find a payphone. You know what a payphone is?
Yeah.
Okay. Where you actually pay, or you would go to your school phone and you say, hey, my dad paged me. I need to call him and see what's going on, right? Or sometimes there were codes, pager codes. This is a whole nother day. But so there were codes that meant different things that if you read it on your pager, that would just show numbers. It wouldn't show letters and words or anything like that. It just showed numbers. But so I remember the big thing was a lot of people had pagers when I was in school, and I wanted a pager. And my parents never bought me a pager, but I had a family member that bought me a pager. And I was excited. I remember having this pager, but I remember having this pager, and it was such a distraction. It was like I would feel it vibrate even when it wouldn't vibrate, you know. And so I've read a lot of books, especially, being an educator, being in the field that I'm in with my business. I'm always trying to understand youth and teens. And they just talk about how much phones have been a detriment to individuals your age. And I know you don't understand it, right? Because what are some of the reasons why you want a phone?
So I can call people.
Okay.
And at my school, they allow phones at the beginning of the day, the end of the day, and at lunch.
Okay.
So I want to be able to play games.
Okay.
So I'm not just bored.
Okay. All right. So that's a good reason to have a $1,500 phone so you can play some game. Oh goodness. Okay. So let's be honest. Let's have a father-son conversation. Like we're just, sitting at home having a conversation. Do you feel that there could be unhealthy things about a phone?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Do you feel that, and again, this is, you can say yes or no. I want to give you that freedom to do that. Do you feel that phones could be a bit of a distraction?
Yes.
Okay, how could they be a distraction?
They can be addicting.
Okay.
Also, it can cause isolation problems.
You know what? Just funny because I just thought about this. Didn't you just write a paper on?
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
Okay,
I wrote a paper on the dangers of technology.
Okay, the dangers of
using that.
Yeah, you talked about. I remember because I reviewed your paper and you talked about the isolation part, which can lead to what?
Depression.
Depression. Well, you talked about the whole mental health issue. Yeah, mental health. So depression, isolation, anxiety, all these different things. And I'm not saying it directly stems from electronic devices, from technology. Like there's things we can pinpoint, but you highlighted these things in your paper, right? There are a lot of great things with technology. I think there's a lot of good that can come out of having a phone, access, right? So, hey, Dad, where you at? Come pick me up, type of thing. Or, hey, Dad, we're going over so-and-so's house, or whatever it may be. Or, sometimes maybe just even needing somebody to talk to. You know what I mean? Maybe if you're having a challenge at school. But I think that there's a right time for everything. Yeah. And I think being 12 years old, being 12 years old, I think that it can do more harm than good. I read this book called The Anxious Generation, and it talks about some of these contributing factors to what, as you alluded to, the mental health crisis that we're in, or we're seeing people that are isolated. We're seeing people that are more depressed at the age that you're at. It's also the social media, right? The comparison self, right? You start to look at yourself in comparison to other people that you've seen on social media. So I know it's even hard for me because Dad wants you to have the latest and the greatest, right? I buy you the shoes, you ask for certain, like, hey, let's make it happen. So it's hard for me because I wanted to say, here's a phone. But I also realize as a parent, I have a responsibility of helping you to become the best version of yourself. And it's not that I'm not trying to avoid you from making mistakes, just health-wise, mental health-wise, I have to be able to guard you from that place to where then we can expose you to it. I don't know when that time will be. Research says 16 years old. I know it's a long time away. I'm not saying 16, but it is a discussion that we can have about, what that would look like with the whole phone thing, right? But distractions are a big thing for me. I realized when I was an educator on a campus, how many students would just be on their phones, walking around like zombies, not connecting with people, not talking to their peers because they were so involved with what was happening on their phone. Then there's a lot of, I know you mentioned this in your paper, there's a lot of bullying that takes place on sometimes these social media platforms. Cyberbullying and different things like that. And so, again, I'm not trying to remove every single obstacle from out of your way. I just know that just like when we were selecting a school for you, this is a very crucial time in your life. And it's just like that seed. Dad always used the analogy of the seed, right? A seed is planted in the dirt. And during that stage, there's important things that we have to do with the seed.
It has to be taken care of.
It has to be taken care of. And I don't want that seed to be uprooted before it's time. You know what I mean? And so during that seed time, there's nutrients, there's different things that seed needs in order to fully blossom, to become that tree. Let's say it's a fruit tree, because the fruit is not for the tree.
It's for us.
It's for other people, right? And so you have a gift, right? I talk about the gift all the time when I go out and I speak at schools. You have a gift that's for the world. And there are things that limits people's gifts from them being able to share with the world. Again, I'm not pinpointing that to technology, but I think that technology is a contributing factor to that. Because as we close, I want to kind of talk about, we all have dreams and goals. And part of what people don't understand, I don't even personally care if no one ever watches this podcast or not, to be honest with you. What's more important for me is having the conversation, yes, but we have these conversations. What's more important for me, and we've had this conversation before, is I need you to dream bigger. I need you to understand that even though, Jackson, you're a great athlete, you're more than an athlete. Even though, Jackson, you're a great student, you're more than a student. I want to show you that if you have a dream and you have an idea of something you want to do, like start a business, come up with your own designs, that you can actually do it. And I believe, again, I don't care if anybody watches or not. I feel that where our schools, some of our schools are lacking in this area, is that we really haven't given our students the ability to dream. There's sometimes limited access that individuals like you have to be able to see people doing the things that you desire to do. So, I have a few businesses, one of them being the event space that we have, right?
Yeah.
And I call it that we have. And I remember bringing you on that journey with me because you have responsibilities in the event space, like cleaning the window. I know you're not perfect, right? But you're doing these things. And we had the conversation was, I need you to have an ownership mentality, not just always wanting to be the one that you're providing the entertainment, but you can be the one that has the ability to create, to build, to hire people. And so part of that is I try to provide you exposure to that. You and your sister had this idea, a while ago. There was a pain point that you saw in the world with people that, sometimes are like you. They're, go ahead. What was that? What was that? Talk a little bit about that process and how we walked through that.
So about, I would say 3 years ago.
Yeah. 2 to 3 years ago.
2 to 3. Yeah. We came up with this idea for pajamas, and then for kids my size and other people my size, they were limited to stuff like different clothes, different pajamas. So we wanted to come up with the solution for people about my size.
Yeah, because I would share with you that a reason why a lot of ideas never become reality is because
the people don't want to actually do it.
Yeah, because there's a few options that people have, right? They complain about it. Oh, there's nothing my size, and they can complain about it. 2, they can just choose not to do anything about it. Or 3, what?
They could come up with the solution for the problem.
They can come up with a solution for the problem. So what brings us here to this close today? I saw in the world that there weren't a lot of people that look like you and I. They're out there, right? But when I looked and said, I want to start a business, it was limited. When I looked and said, I want to start a podcast, it was limited. And I could have said, the reason why kids these days don't want it because nobody's out there showing them how to do it. I can complain about it. I can just continue looking out for myself. I can be doing stuff and never include anybody, never go back and get back to my community, or I can become a solution to a problem that I see. I think that we all have a problem that we see. There's a problem that you see in the world that inside of you is a solution to that problem. Just like with many of those individuals that are listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, there's a problem that they see that they have been placed on this earth, right, to bring a solution for, to add value for. The seed that's on the inside of them that will one day flourish and become the tree that the world needs to take part of. But Jackson, man, I love you, dude. Thank you for going on this journey with Dad. Was it challenging? Was it
challenging?
This was challenging? Okay, but you did it. You pushed through. And a lot of individuals say, you're natural, right? This is who you are. But I know that behind the scenes, we're always working on things, and so even you don't realize you're inspiring kids your age and younger and say, hey, I want to start a podcast. Hey, I want to get behind a camera, because it's not perfect. It's not like you came up here and said, Dad, let's do this. It was like, it's a day off. A day off can be your day where you can play your video games and do it, but you're here with Dad at the studio recording the podcast. And so just like how, my dad did for me, I want to do for you. And I just want to say, dude, I love you so much. Thank you for being on this journey with Dad. And I'm excited for what God is going to do in your life and who he's going to call you to reach and touch. Don't you stop. I love you, dude. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's go. I want to thank you for joining me on the Felix Bobo Podcast. I hope today's conversation sparked some new ideas and gave you the encouragement to lead and learn without limits. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe and share it with another educational leader or anyone looking to make a difference in the world of learning. Remember, this podcast is just the beginning. You're now part of the family, a community dedicated to creating lasting impact. Until next time, keep leading with heart, keep learning with joy, and let's transform education together. Thank you for listening.